That's all right. If you need something, call me.
I'm going to.
I bring donuts.
Yeah. I need them, but I can get.
Might become a boo bird in the crowd. Back in my day.
I'm not old. I don't know, I'm getting pretty old, Jesse.
Yeah. So I'm just.
Good evening. Good evening. Shall we call the meeting to order? If we will please stand, and I invite Pastor Rachel Danner.
Let us pray. Gracious and loving God, we give you thanks for the ways that you call us to serve you and to serve your people in this world. Lord, we ask that you would guide and direct each and every one of us, that we can follow where you lead and do what is best for your community, for all of your people, to care for your creation. We ask that you would guide and direct this meeting, that we can discern your will and be the best with our gifts that we can. All these things we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. At this point, we will have our city clerk, Tina Fitzpatrick, to administer the oaths of office, please.
I'm gonna do it. There. Okay, we ready? Huh? No. Okay. Okay, so repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Mike Slater,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution
the Constitution
and laws of the United States and the Constitution and laws of the State of Kansas, and faithfully discharge the duties of City of Atchison City Commissioner, so help me God.
City of Atchison.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Yes, please.
Switch seats with you, Bill.
That'll work better.
I got warmed up.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
No. Yep. Congratulations.
Thank you.
It fluttered out when you want.
I have one.
Okay. Okay. All right.
I came down.
All right. Congratulations, gentlemen. Congratulations. At this time, we will then go on to the business of the election of a mayor and vice mayor. Do I have a motion for a mayor?
I'd like to nominate La Rochelle.
Thank you very much, Bill. I accept. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. It has been moved and seconded that La Rochelle Young will serve as mayor. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Okay, next we will move to the election of a vice mayor. Do I have a nomination for vice mayor?
I nominate Lisa Moody.
Okay, is there a second? Okay, it has been moved and seconded that Lisa Moody will serve as vice mayor. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those, same sign. All right. We have elected La Rochelle Young as mayor and Lisa Moody as vice mayor. As we do not have any proclamations, Tina, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Young,
Present?
Commissioner Greenlee,
Present.
Commissioner Murphy,
Here.
Commissioner Slattery,
Here.
Vice Mayor Moody. Thank you.
Thank you, Tina. Next, we will enter into our public forum. At this time, persons who wish to address the City Commission regarding items that are not on the agenda may do so at this time when called upon by the mayor. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes and should give their name, their address when addressing the commission. And presentation is for information purposes only. So I now open our public forum. Do we have anyone here who would like to address the commission? Yes, sir.
Hello, everybody. My name is Kenneth Smith. I'm the first elder of the Seventh-day Adventist Church here at 121 North 9th Street here in Atchison, Kansas. I reside at 525 L Street here in the city. I have 2 items that I want to bring. Probably only get 3 minutes for the 2 probably, but anyway, I'll try to be brief. I just want to mention these 2 things to put them on your mind. I trust you in what you guys decide to do with the information that I give you. I want to thank you for your position of power to serve this community and this city of Atchison, to make the decisions that need to be made for the protection of the citizens and our great city. The first issue that I'd like to bring to your attention, and you probably already know this problem's going on, and that's the problem of the homeless here in the city. I cannot ignore this problem any longer. I don't feel comfortable being in my bed when it's warm and comfortable and going past and seeing so many people out of place. I don't know what brings them to this position, but I think if we put our minds together, we can work on a solution that will ratify this situation. And so I'm available. I don't just throw this out for you guys to do. I'm willing to come in a leadership capacity to govern and to do whatever I can do to help monitor and whatever we do as far as a place of shelter. What I recommend is that we come up with a place for 4 months out of the year. This would cover the 4 winter months, the 4 winter seasons, months that we have. And I would suggest that we have a place that would cover them from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. I think that we can come up with a place. And if I need to be, I will donate being there, the evening shift, to guide and to govern whatever goes on in that building, because it's going to have some leadership. And I'm willing to volunteer to do that. And I will also seek other people that are willing to fill in, because 7 days a week is a lot to be out of your bed. The second issue that I'd like to bring is the issue of the Black Historic site here in Atchison, Kansas. It's between L and M on here in Atchison, in North Atchison. This Black Business District at one time, I don't know what you know about that area, but a lot of you may have only known about the negative things that happened on this location. But at one time, this was a prominent business area that started over 91 Black-owned businesses in that area. And I believe that we need to do something to save the Black history of this city. The reason why I'm coming to you is because I think that this is something that all of us need to be involved in. It's not just for the Blacks of the community to cover this area. I believe that all of our history is all of our history. And so it's disheartening to know, and I can't really get into the full presentation of what I had planned for today, but for some of our Black people, our Black young people that come out of school and they look for employment and they look for something positive here in the city, they can't see much. We're not in the banks. We're not in any positions of power that they can see, and it's disheartening for them. And so I would like to come up with a plan. We do have a committee that's working on saving this historic portion of the city. Steve with the Historic Society has come on board. We've got a lot of ideas, but what we need from this body of leaders is we need possession of this building. And the reason why we need possession of this building fast, quick, and in a hurry is because we cannot apply for the grants that are needed because we don't own the building. We can't even petition some of the people that are willing to give some monies to save this historic site will not do it because we don't own the building. And they don't know what's going to become of the money that they donate. And so I would like I'd like to thank the city of commissioners for what you guys have done. You've done an excellent job in tearing the building, the Winrose Hall building down. It looks good. The landscape is good. The drainage is right. It cuts it across. And I say that, and I do have some expertise in this field. Several years ago, I was the general manager over the total renovation of the Cornerstone Seventh-day Adventist Church, what you guys know formerly as the Deanne's Floral Shop. Total gutting it out, total doing all the electrical and all the plumbing, everything that had to be done. I overseen that project. So I'm willing to donate my time and whatever money my wife will let me spend to donate to this project, and I am fully on board. There's a lot of money that needs to be raised to complete this project, and I know that there's some money here. And I think that the city of Commission, this body can help us to reach this goal. Is there anything? What I need to know is what we can do to expedite this process. Is there somebody that will talk to us and let us know what needs to be done, boom, 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 so that we can get these things and come through these hurdles? I know there was a packet that was prepared, and we submitted that, and we really didn't get much information back from that packet.
There was a one-page proposal that was presented to the city commission. So the next steps in acquiring that would be filling out the land bank application and then meeting those guidelines within that. And I've provided that, I think, to Angela and Patty Goldridge a few times, actually.
Okay. All right. Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Have you ever seen a property come out of the land bank and back to the city? Have you ever seen that happen?
In my time here, it has not happened. I don't know that it's.
You said come out of the city.
Well, I mean, if there's
Is that who owns the property now, the land bank?
the land bank, if there's 10,000 hurdles that you got to jump through this process.
You mean has anybody successfully applied for a land bank property?
Well, I mean, is it possible that it can be moved out of the land bank and back to the city's possession so that the city can be in power to move that?
The distinction between the city and the land bank is immaterial. The difference, it's just a legal difference. The land bank board is identical to the city commission.
Okay.
So the decision makers for both entities are identical. The only reason a land bank exists is because there are some tax advantages for the city that is kind of immaterial to the conversation. But to answer your question, has anybody successfully applied for a land bank property? Yes. I could think of a dozen examples off the top of my head.
It sounds like your group needs to apply, don't they? Wouldn't that be your group needs to apply to the land bank?
Well, it seems to me that we've been filling out some information, getting some information back to this board, and it doesn't seem like we've met with much help or success in moving us forward. And so that's what I'm just trying to see. Can we waive some of the stuff and just be blunt and out front with what needs to happen and give us an opportunity to meet those goals so that we can move forward? One of the things that needs to be done right away is that the buildings, one building is, the roof is completely gone. and if this stuff is covered up, one of the other buildings that needs to be saved, we've already hired an architect. He tells us that these buildings can be saved. So if we could get those buildings covered so that it's not acquiring more damage on top of the damage that's already there, if these things can be done and met, then that would certainly help us to eliminate some of the damage that are ongoing.
We certainly understand that. I think what, if I may, what would be very helpful is if staff could get back in touch with you, and we can then take a look at how we can productively move forward. I understand that our city manager has been in contact, has submitted our process, but if that needs to happen again, we will
I
certainly
can
be happy
resend that out.
to do that.
Okay. And I thank you guys very much for,
Okay.
you let me go over a little bit, and I appreciate that. I'm going to leave a stack of my cards here so that you guys.
I've got another question for you, sir.
Yes, sir.
How many people do you think are in this homeless group? People that need a place to stay in?
I don't know. I met with the chief of police this morning. I met with the Salvation Army.
Yeah.
With Kim Possible up there. And I call her Kim Possible because she makes a lot of things happen in this city.
She does.
But and she gave me both of them gave me some very valuable information. I don't know how many people are there. I'm
going to corner you. Make a guess. What are we talking about? 5,
well, we're thinking
20?
about 10.
Yeah.
Maybe 10. They have been successful in the last 30 days in placing 5 people that were homeless. There was 2 couples, and there was also a single gentleman that they have found housing for. There was another gentleman that needed some mental stuff, and so they got him placed as well. So the city, along with our police chief, and there is some work being done to help with this, but it's a problem that all of us need to reach. And I've gotten to the point to where I called the administration of Seventh-day Adventists today to see if I could allow them to come into the church and spend the night. And I know that's going to be, we're not equipped to handle mental illness. We're not equipped to handle people that have a substance abuse. We're not equipped to handle people that have bad attitudes and just want to hurt people. We're not equipped to do any of that. But I believe that the Bible says, all that's needed for evil to prevail is that godly men do nothing. And so if we don't do anything, we can't expect anything to just happen. We all have to do something to help. We have the Memorial Hall where they could possibly get a shower under supervision if they have to be at the church or some kind of building. There's got to be some place where they can get in and out of the weather. And, we would help provide them with supper and a breakfast and let them go during the day. Maybe supervise them for a couple hours while they take a shower at the YMCA. There's 2 different, not the YMCA, but the Memorial Hall. There's 2 different shower systems there for men and women. There are solutions to this problem, and I want to be a part of it. And if you contact me with your ideals, I'm open, and I'm willing to donate my time and what little bit of treasure I have. I'm willing to do it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One more brief thing. Pastor Paul's here because we've been getting some negative responses. Tearing down our job. Put out. There's been some under-table threats as to what people are. I'm not going to be a part of anything violent, anything that's wrong. I don't want to be a part of it. Pastor Paul and I are here tonight to alleviate. There is a problem. I don't know if any of you remember. You probably time when they tear down the Stowe tree. The Stowe tree is a big old ugly tree that's right in the middle of the park, on the corner of the park. It doesn't mean anything to a lot of people. I'm going to tell you something. The day that they showed up to tear that tree down, there was 200 people on it protesting and would not let. So there's a significance. saving these buildings is a whole lot to you guys, because you don't have an individual stake in it. But for those people, hold that little piece of property, their history could be where at your meeting in January, I've asked them to get, and at the meeting in January, I don't want we were here to voice this problem. Hope that the city hear us out and help us come up with
Is that building on a demo order or something now? I'm not up to.
No, it is
No,
not.
it's not.
It's not.
No,
So
it's
there's no
not.
big crisis this
The-
month.
The building that was demolished was at the committee's request. And it was on the record in the land bank meeting, yeah, part of the written proposal. The others are not. They're being secured. They are a safety issue right now because of their condition, but there's been no plans, public or private discussions about demolitions of any of the other buildings as of today.
It sounds like that group maybe could make something happen there, and maybe.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, and we appreciate what you've said. Do we have another person who is here? Yes.
I'm Dwayne Anthony. I'm retired and retired. I'm an artist, and I'd like to follow up on Elder Smith's information. What goes overlooked in terms of history is 60 years ago.
Mr. Anthony, if you could please, could you provide us with your address?
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
716 X Street, Atchison, Kansas.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay. 60 years ago, we didn't have what we had today. We didn't have representatives there. We didn't have access to the whole community. We were limited to North Atchison. Those buildings were our businesses. We couldn't integrate and do the things that we can do now. When integration came in, what happened was we went down there and nobody come up there. And so everything's been taken from us from up there. And so the people that had a stake in it directly are gone. They're gone except for a few of us. And the point of it being is that unfortunately, our history of our whole country and Atchison is that, okay, even prior to Chief Wilson's stint there, you know, the attitude about Atchison, Kansas, and trouble, as long as it hadn't passed division, okay. And unfortunately, it would let them kill each other. We really don't care about that. That's second priority, or even if it's up there, at that level. And so for any of those things to happen, it's like we're repeating ourselves again. History repeating itself again. In that, okay, now for some reason, you know, it seems like there's a value or that's not stated, or a motive that's not stated to, you know, and I know it sounds like, you know, it's been said now that those aren't on the demolition block, and so that's good. That's good. And I know they said the community, you know, I don't know who the community is. That could be the community down here. Could be the community anywhere. But for example, for us to spend all kinds of money on Christmas lights and then continue to put obstacles in the way of this committee, because this is not the first time. There's been some back and forth on this thing for obstacles to be constantly placed in front of the committee. Oh no, do this. It sounds like the black code laws, or the, you know, hey, the poll laws, the poll taxes, and all those kind of extra things. Like it or not, that's part of our history, and it seems like we're trying to repeat that a little bit when we don't really have to and shouldn't want to. And you guys all have your different faiths that you believe in. You believe, some Catholic, some whatever you are, and there is a certain amount of camaraderie, brotherhood that we have. But that's always been the case, that some of us don't follow through with our faith. And so I would appeal to you to consider that, what is really the right thing to do here. You know, some of it's going to be just a conscience and a morality thing. And yeah, you don't have no direct bearing yourself, but there's many of us that still do. And that used to be the only place we could go. And while we can go other places now, you've never gone up there. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right, do we have another person? Yes.
My name is David DeWare. I live at 1594 North 7th. Let me hand out a packet here real quick.
Remember that?
All right, so my concern is, the reason I'm here is I've called the city manager's office twice, and I haven't got a return call or have a meeting yet. So I'm doing this here. So on code enforcement is the first front letter, you can see where something got mailed to me. And on the second page, you can obviously see where the mail post office made my address an unreturnable address. So it's not the city's fault or anything like that, but the mail did not come to me at all. On the fourth page is notice to abate. That was what was inside that letter that I've never received because the mail was not delivered to me. I didn't sign for it. So my concern is the process for this code enforcement is broken either by needing new training or people need to understand their jobs or there needs to be better follow through with what this is because it affects everybody in Atchison. So as you can see there, it says a car needs to be towed and some brush and tires need to be fixed. So Curtis writes that to me and I don't get it. But the process is, on the next page I have highlighted, upon determination of existing nuisance is defined here under the code enforcement officer shall commence an administrative proceeding by providing the owner, which is me, with a letter, which I didn't get. The next step, it goes to Pat, which he's supposed to administrative order, which is finding whether the city properly sent a notice to the owner or agent in accordance with this provision, which didn't happen, but the city went forward still, even though that didn't happen. I didn't get to be at the administrative hearing because I didn't get the first letter, and there's not a letter sent out for administrative hearing. Next section, next page, it says, if the address or whereabouts of the owner cannot be determined after due diligence, which I assume is a simple phone call, which has not been made to me yet, shall be published in the city newspaper, which was not done. Thus, the nuisance reflects improvements in buildings and such like that. But yet, on the next page, the city is able to find and send me a bill, even though I didn't get it, no due diligence, nothing published in the paper.
Mr. Dwyer?
Yes.
Was the address the city sent, was your address correct?
Yes, that's correct, 221 North 3rd, absolutely. That's my office. Massasoit's been around since 1929.
What is this address then?
Massasoit,
It is that?
Yeah.
That's not your office though?
that is my office, which, as you can see, some reason, the mail people decided that office doesn't exist. But my point is there wasn't a second attempt made, nor was there any due diligence, nor was there anything put in the paper like your ordinance says. So you guys didn't even follow your own ordinance. But you're able to tow a car and ask someone to pay for it, but you're not even following the law you set yourself. That seems to be a problem for me. And I have a bill, which until today, when I went downstairs to get it, I have not yet received it. So I think this is a huge concern that we're billing people and towing cars off property without following the law or involving people. That's pretty much a big problem, I think. So, yes.
Oh, no, I was just going to say thank you. We'll certainly take this under advisement.
Okay. That would
All
be
right.
great, because I have other ones like this I'd like to discuss. If we can get a hold and talk to you, I'd be glad to do it.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else? Okay, before we close, I do have a couple of comments. Certainly appreciate the attention to the homelessness. We certainly appreciate that. With regard to the Winrow buildings and the Atchison Black Historic District, I can assure you that we certainly understand the historic nature. I personally understand the historic nature, the value of history. I know that the city has been wanting to work diligently with the organization. I believe it's the Winrow Brothers. Is that correct? The Winrow Brothers group?
I think the name they are going by now, I think, is the Atchison Black Business District Committee. I think.
Okay, all right. We have been working diligently with them, so we would certainly appreciate also continuing that collaboration. I think that it's very important that our city comes together. Certainly, everyone understands that we do have a history, sometimes a difficult history, but I think we can all agree that working together, we can move forward in a collaborative and in a productive tone. And certainly it is not the intention of this body to do anything that would be disrespectful to the historic Black History District. And I just want to, before we move on, just make that very clear. And again, as staff has said, that the demolition that happened was at the request of the committee, your committee that requested it. All right. At that point, is there anyone else? If not, we are closed. Thank you.
Wasn't there somebody else wanted to say?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Was there someone else that wanted to say something?
I'm sorry, I thought there was.
Okay, all right, very good. All right, thank you. Now if we can move on to the consent agenda.
Where are you going?
Get his guy.
Come here, Murphy, don't you run off yet.
All right, on our consent agenda this afternoon, we have approval of the minutes from the November 20th City Commission meeting, approval of the following occupational licenses: Jerry's Again, La Maria Mexican Restaurant, contingent upon approval from the building inspector, Mueller's Locker Room, and Willie's. Approval of the following cereal malt beverage licenses: Five Rivers LLC, contingent upon approval from the building inspector, Gambino's Pizza, Shop Smart 5, and Van Dyke's Grocery. Approval of the 2024 City Commission meeting schedule. Approval of the 2024 pay grade classifications and pay plan. Authorizing a 2-year contract extension for Theater Atchison for the management of the event center. Adopt resolution number 3379, revising the City of Atchison Code of Conduct and Ethics, and adopt resolution number 3380, revising the City of Atchison procurement policies. And I'll note that in the memo you will see items 7 and 8 have to do with the upcoming closeout of one of our CDBG projects. They often review our internal policies and sometimes make suggestions so that our policies are compliant with federal law and therefore compliant with the grant guidelines.
All right. Are there any questions to the consent agenda?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I just have two on the, and maybe this, I tried to find it, I couldn't find it. The number 7 and number 8, where we're revising the city codes, conduct, and the actual procurement policy. And it says revising. I would like to know what change it is from what it is
Sure.
now to what it will be.
So I think both of those, one is highlighted in the policy that's attached, and I believe one is in the memo. If we can first turn to page 80 in your packet.
What was that, page 80?
Page 80, yes, sir.
Is that what you had yellow highlighted?
I'm not sure, I'm getting to that one real quick. I think this one, the current, yes, this first one, the current policy at the end of the document. Tina, what's the end of that page number I need to get to? I'm getting there.
Is that simply an addition then, that yellow part's an addition?
It is an addition, yes. And that is on, the only change to the Code of Conduct and Ethics, okay, thank you, is found on page 96, all highlighted in yellow. No other changes are made to that document. And then if you flip to page 97, right above the bolded section, it says, Section 8 of the current policy reads as follows. Section 8, sole source purchases. Contracts may be awarded or purchases made without competition if a department head has determined there's only one source for required good or service. Sole source purchases must be approved by the city manager. Under the bolded, you will see a Section 8 with A and B. That is the language that replaces what you see just above that. And again, the only changes to that document. And in this one, you do see a revised policy that includes that updated language at the bottom.
So that's the only changes, is that A and B on that?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. It replaces the Section 8 as it reads up above that I read out loud. That the Section 8 below that shows the sections A and B replaces that section, and no other changes are made.
I'd move that we accept this.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded that we accept the consent agenda as printed. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Amy. Okay, next we will go to new business.
Do we have to do the,
Oop, did I skip
Bill's,
something? Oh,
this is a separate liquor license, isn't it?
yes, and that's under new business. That should
I
be
see.
number 1, cereal malt beverage license.
Okay. New business number 1 is a cereal malt beverage license for Wilcox Inc., Quick Stop West, contingent upon approval from the building inspector.
Do we have any questions?
I move we.
All right, it has been moved that we accept this. Do I have a second?
Second it.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded that the cereal malt beverage license will be approved. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign.
I recuse myself.
Okay, all right. Motion then carries. All right, item number 2, CDBG Commercial Rehab Bid Award.
Right, the next item you have is the CDBG bid award for 526 Commercial Street for Blackstone Properties. This CDBG award of $250,000 was awarded in 2021. This particular project has been through a number of bid processes and bid extensions, and a bid was received with, let me flip just one second to my memo that I provided you. This particular bid, I believe, has some modifications to the elevator and came in at a total project cost of $643,610, which was acceptable to the project owner and CDBG. So the matching funds for this project will be provided by the building owner and not the city, but because we were the CDBG project applicant, we therefore have to approve that final bid award. The bid is for Diversified Inc. in the amount of $643,610. And I think it's, I do want to note for you that this is a sizable project. I think it has been planned for quite some time. I think it would be reasonable to expect we may see an ARPA economic development application come through for this project in the coming weeks, months, perhaps.
There was quite a few of these forms in here that weren't signed and were blank, and what's that all about?
So we
Can't
will
find
not.
it right now.
We will not execute those documents until the commission approves that, and then we'll work with the CDBG group to either have the mayor's signature, or sometimes it calls for the city manager.
Right.
Oh, I had a little more time. Looks like on page 20 there was a bunch of stuff. Well, that's the wrong page.
Any other questions? Are we ready to receive a motion for the agreement of the CDBG Commercial Rehab Bid Award?
Is there any particular hurry on this thing for us to get through this right away? 'Cause instead of like the next meeting even?
I think the project owner would certainly think so. In CDBG, they've been through a number of bid extensions. There's really, other than the approval of the bid, and they did a sealed bid, I think they've had a number of them. There's no financial implication to the city or liability on the city. It's
There's
just.
no financial incurrence here at all.
No, the CDBG award of $250,000 comes through that program, and then the project or building owner is responsible for any matching funds.
What if they don't finish this project? What happens then?
I believe CDBG probably has the right to take back some of their funding if they don't meet the requirements of
state
that
funding
grant.
then?
Yes, sir.
Federal?
Yes, sir, yeah.
Federal funding.
Oh, it's federal funding, I'm sorry.
CDBG is administered through the Kansas Department of Commerce, but it's federal funding.
federal funding.
And anybody who deals in that program would tell you that because of the federal funding, it comes with Davis-Bacon wage rate requirements, and it certainly
All that other
inflates.
stuff that's in here.
Yeah, so it inflates the cost of the project. But that's the nature of the game. You can
Yeah, some
play
of
or
these
not, but
cost here we're kind of.
yeah, the scope of the project is, it's basically a comprehensive new envelope for what amounts to, I think it's 5 total storefronts. It's the Aunt Pearl's attic building, which includes what I know as the orthodontist office. Everything on that half block almost, except for the Lopez, Mexico property, is included in it. There's where Jean Conan had her office, and then there's the storefronts for the really beautiful kind of inset area. It's new windows for that entire inset thing. It's basically a comprehensive building envelope project, and also an elevator shaft. And originally in 2021, when we kind of put this, the city put out a call for projects and said, hey, who fits this criteria for CDBG commercial rehab? We had 2 interested parties. It has to be a downtown property, and the other one was outside downtown, so this was the only interested party. At that time, the thought was that this was going to be a $425,000 project, and there's certainly been a lot of inflation since 2020, 2021, and I think the architect probably missed a little bit in their estimates, which is, I guess, is common. So the building owner's not thrilled with the cost of the project, but it's either going to happen or it's not, and he's run out of extensions. This is sort of the end of the rope for this particular effort.
Notice, looking through that, there's nothing.
No, it's an envelope project. Like, this does not do any of the interior renovation
So the
really at
building
all.
won't even be
It's
finished?
a roof, windows, storefronts, foundation, masonry, elevator shaft.
Is there a
Yep.
time, him getting these funds
Yes,
and making this a viable building, because it wouldn't be a viable building if they.
correct. Yes, there is a time limit for it. It's very common with CDBG commercial rehab projects to bifurcate them into 2 phases, because it allows you to do phase 1, which is subject to the wage rate Davis-Bacon. And then the second phase, when you finish it out, doesn't necessarily have to meet those requirements, so you can avoid some of the federal inflation by bifurcating the scope of work. So that's very common to see them split up that way. I don't think anybody involved likes this, but you can either play or not. We don't get to tell the feds what to do. We can either play their game and take their money or not. And we're kind of at the end of we tried a lot of different ways with this to make it advantageous for everybody involved, and it
Looks to me like it.
I will say about the CDBG program, I shouldn't levy a bunch of criticism against it and then not say what they're good at. What they are good at is fairness. The process is very fair, and after 60 years 50 years, however long CDBG's been around, there are a lot of controls in there, so there's not a lot of explicit kickbacks or anything like that. Like the legislative, all the documents that you see there all of that is because somebody at some point in time took advantage of the program in a way that they didn't want them to, and so there is a lot of fairness implication that's built into this. It's just on the backside of it, there's a lot of aggravation. Like, you can imagine being the contractor and trying to do all the interviews and the compliance stuff, and that's why they only have 2 bids, is because, or you might say, well, why aren't local contractors interested? It's not for lack of effort. I think if you went and talked to them, there was a lot of effort made to try and bring them in and get them to participate, but as busy as they are, they don't want to work on projects that have wage rate requirements or all the federal compliance things. They are plenty busy without having to go through those hoops.
I'm just speculating. If we didn't have the CDBG grant, that building would, because
Yeah.
it's as far as real estate down in Atchison, unless there's somebody else's money coming
Right.
into it, it's pretty hard to make something work financially.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, there's,
So, I mean, if almost as nothing else, we're saving structure.
yeah. And that's the intent of the commercial rehab program, is to do that. There are,
I don't care for it, but I'm for it.
I'm aware
Does that
of.
make sense?
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I do want to reiterate that, obviously, the owner incurred some expense acquiring the building. That's on top of the project expense. CDBG, that's a lot of money to have wrapped up in a building in small town Kansas. So we have what we call a ARPA economic development application from the building owner. Those applications are routed through the city's economic development advisory group. That group meets this Thursday. So I do expect at your next meeting, you will see some sort of a recommendation from EDAG or some sort of supplement through that ARPA economic development program that the city use their allotment of, hey, more federal funding, right? So I don't want anybody to, at the next meeting, see that and say, oh, well, I want to be forthright about that. That's what I expect. It's possible. I can't control how EDAG will vote. EDAG being the Economic Development Advisory Group, but I do expect that to be.
We're not going to get in a situation where we approve this and then they can come back and say, well, now we need some more city money to make this work.
Not beyond what you would see at the next meeting from the local ARPA ED program. Beyond that, I would say the answer to that's no. Crazier things have happened, I guess, but there are all kinds of controls built into the CDBG program. Like for example, I think the way that that's set up, isn't there a guarantee from the ownership group or something to the?
I think so, yes.
There's some sort of structure there, and I can take the time to look through at that, but the program is designed so that it's not city money, but it is utilizing the city as a conduit to access the federal funding.
So this company or whatever it is now, they do own the building at this point.
Blackstone Properties owns the building.
Blackstone.
Do we have any other questions? Okay. At this time, do I have a motion to approve the CDBG Commercial Rehab Bid Award?
So moved.
It's been properly moved. Do we have a second?
I second.
We have a motion on the floor that has been moved and seconded regarding the CDBG Commercial Rehab Bid Award, approving that award. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And number 3,
Voted no.
No, I just didn't vote.
you abstained?
Please?
You abstained?
Abstain, yes.
Okay, one abstain.
There's-
All right. Okay.
They're still okay,
Three,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, at this time, we will need to be excused for executive session. Do I have a motion to move into executive session for, how long do we need? Will 15 minutes suffice?
I think so.
Okay.
I'll make that.
Okay, it has been moved that we will enter into executive session at 5:18. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay, motion is approved, and we will be back at
5:33.